Today we shall apprise you with the conduct and conclusion of Pakistan Armed Forces Operation Bunyanum Marsoos against Indian military dastardly attacks that began on night of 6th and 7th May 2025, resulting in the loss of innocent civilian lives that included women, children and elderly. Pakistan had vowed justice and retribution for reprehensible Indian military aggression and brutal killings of our citizens. Alhamdulillah, Pakistan Armed Forces have delivered the promise made to our people. I begin by thanking Almighty Allah for His infinite blessings, mercy, help and divine support, as He has ordained the believers to retaliate whenever they are wronged. We bow our heads to Him in utmost humility to have enabled us to translate our resolve into decisive actions in the battlefield. Our hearts and sympathies are with the wards and families of the Shuhada who sacrificed their lives for the beloved country, and our prayers are for the quick recovery of our injured countrymen. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to every officer, soldier, airman and sailor of the Armed Forces of Pakistan who made this success on the battlefield possible through their courage, professionalism and sacrifice. The Armed Forces of Pakistan express their profound appreciation and gratitude to the brave Pakistani nation whose moral strength, resolve and above all wholehearted support and prayers remained unwaveringly with us during these testing times, which became a force multiplier for the Armed Forces of Pakistan. We are specially indebted to the youth of Pakistan who became the frontline soldiers as information and cyber warriors of the country. Profound thanks are also due to you, the vibrant media of Pakistan, who also stood like Bunyanum Marsoos, a steel wall against the Indian media information blitz and fuming as well as warmongering done by the Indian media. We are extremely grateful to the political leadership of all political parties without any distinction for the unified resolve in support of their armed forces for the defense of our motherland. The armed forces are specifically grateful to the inspiring leadership of the Prime Minister of Pakistan and his cabinet ministers for taking destiny-changing decisions of the country and steering it through this critical situation. Let me share now the operational details of Operation Bunyanum Marsoos. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's response was a textbook demonstration of integrated tri-services jointness enabled by real-time situational awareness, network-centric warfare capabilities and seamless multi-domain operations. This synergy across air, land, sea and cyber domains allowed for precision engagements, overwhelming lethality and rapid tempo. All platforms operated in synergy, delivering coordinated effects at carefully selected decisive points. Using precision-guided long-range Fateh series missiles F-1 and F-2 of Pakistan Army, precision munitions of Pakistan Air Force, highly capable long-range loitering killer munitions and precision long-range artillery. 26 military targets as well as facilities that were used to target Pakistani citizens and those enterprises that were responsible for fomenting terrorism in Pakistan were engaged in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and also mainland India. The targets included Air Force and aviation bases at Suratgarh, Sirsa, Bhuj, Nalia, Adampur, Bhatinda, Barnala, Halwara, Avantipura, Srinagar, Jammu, Udhampur, Mamoon, Ambala and Pathankot, which all sustained major damages. BrahMos tourist facilities at Beas and Nagrota were also destroyed, which had fired missiles on Pakistan, killing innocent civilians, our flower-like children, our ladies and our elderly. S-400 battery system at Adampur and Bhuj was also attacked by our proud Pakistan Air Force. Military logistic and support sites which helped sustain this unlawful operation against innocent Pakistani civilians, like field supply depot at Uri and radar station at Poonch, were also targeted. Military command headquarters, which helped plan the operational killing of our innocent citizens, especially the children, including 10th Brigade and 80 Brigade at KG Top and Nushaira, were also destroyed. Facilities which harbor, train and capacitate proxy elements that perpetrate terrorist attacks inside Pakistan, which kill innocent civilians, were specifically identified and destroyed. These include intelligence fusion support units and its forward field elements at Rajouri and Nowshera. Across the line of control, military elements including headquarters, logistic bases, artillery position and posts that had caused civilian casualties in Azad Jammu and Kashmir through unprovoked artillery and small arms fire were relentlessly targeted and heavily damaged until they raised white flags and asked for restraint. India used drones to violate Pakistani airspace to intimidate our civilians and spread fear. All through Operation Banyanum Marsoos, dozens of Pakistani armed drones hovered over Indian major cities and sensitive political and government facilities, including their capital, New Delhi. And from Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir all the way up to Gujarat to manifest clearly our lethal long-range unmanned capability, to indicate the futility of the use of this domain in warfare. Pakistan Armed Forces also carried out comprehensive and effective cyber offensive to temporarily cripple and degrade critical infrastructure and services that were being used by Indian Armed Forces to sustain their operations. Let me tell you that Pakistan Armed Forces possess an adequate suite of very sophisticated niche military technologies, only some of which were used with restraint in this conflict, and there are many more such capabilities being kept as future surprises. Despite all this, let me say that compared to Indian relentless provocations, Pakistan's military response has been precise, proportionate, and still remarkably restrained. It was carefully calibrated to avoid civilian casualties and has exclusively targeted those entities and facilities which were directly involved in orchestrating and executing cold-blooded killings of Pakistani civilians and those carrying out terrorist attacks inside Pakistan. We must also inform you that Pakistan also sustained an abnormal and immediate spike in Indian-sponsored terrorism across Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan while we were busy in operations on the Eastern Front. This vindicates that India is directly involved in fomenting terrorism in Pakistan, and its proxies were fully operationalized during this time to distract our attention. Pakistan Armed Forces are resilient and simultaneously With the conduct of Operation Bunyanum Marsoos, we carried out most effective counter-terrorism operations in the western region without any pause. Operation Bunyanum Marsoos has been a great example of coming together of all elements of national power with overwhelming support of Pakistani public to effectively counter the threat to our national sovereignty and integrity and the threat to our great motherland. No one should have any doubt that whenever our sovereignty would be threatened and territorial integrity violated, the response would be comprehensive, retributive, and decisive. Pakistan Armed Forces thank and salute the Pakistani nation for its courage, resilience, and national fervor during this conflict. Let me finish with the Quranic verse from the Surah Anfal. وَيَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكِرُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. They plan and Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners. Pakistan Zindabad, Afaj Pakistan Pindabad. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will read out this statement in Urdu for our citizens of Pakistan in general. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. آج میں آپ کو پاکستان کی مسلح افواج کے آپریشن بنیانم مرسوس کی کارروائی اور اس کے نتائج سے آگاہ کرنا چاہتا ہوں، جو بھارت کی بزدلانہ فوجی جارحیت کے جواب میں کیا گیا۔ یہ حملے 6 اور 7 مئی 2025 کی درمیانی شب شروع ہوئے، جن کے نتیجے میں معصوم شہری، جن میں خواتین، بچے اور بزرگ شامل تھے، شہید ہوئے۔ پاکستان نے بھارتی جارحیت اور ہمارے شہریوں کے بےہمانہ قتل پر انصاف اور انتقام کا وعدہ کیا تھا۔ الحمدللہ پاکستان کی مسلح افواج نے یہ وعدہ پورا کیا۔ میں سب سے پہلے رب ذوالجلال کا شکر ادا کرتا ہوں جس کی بے پایاں رحمت، نصرت اور مدد ہمارے ساتھ رہی۔ اللہ تعالیٰ نے مومنوں کو حکم دیا ہے کہ جب ان پر ظلم ہو تو وہ جواب دیں۔ ہم اللہ کے حضور سجدہ ریز ہوتے ہیں کہ اس نے ہمیں اپنی عزم کو فیصلہ کن عمل میں ڈھالنے کی توفیق عطا فرمائی۔ ہمارے دل اور دعائیں ان شہداء کے خاندانوں کے ساتھ ہیں جنہوں نے اپنی جانیں مادر وطن پر قربان کر دیں۔ ہم زخمیوں کی جلد صحت یابی کے لیے بھی دعاگو ہیں۔ ہم پاکستان کی مسلح افواج کے ہر آفیسر، سپاہی، ایئر مین اور سیلر کے بے حد مشکور ہیں، جنہوں نے اپنی جرت، پیشہ ورانہ مہارت اور قربانی سے میدان جنگ میں کامیابی کو ممکن بنایا۔ ہم پاکستان کی مسلح افواج پوری قوم، خصوصاً نوجوانوں کے جذبے، حوصلے اور بھرپور حمایت پر دل کی گہرائیوں سے شکر گزار ہیں، جنہوں نے مشکل ترین وقت میں ہمارے حوصلے کو کئی گنا بڑھایا۔ ہم پاکستان کے ان نوجوانوں کے بھی مقروض ہیں جو سائبر اور انفارمیشن کے محاذ پر صف اول کے سپاہی بنے۔ ہم پاکستان کے متحرک اور بہادر میڈیا کے بھی شکر گزار ہیں، جنہوں نے بھارت کے پروپیگنڈا اور جنگی جنون کے خلاف بنیانوں مرصوص یعنی ایک آہنی دیوار کی طرح کھڑے ہوئے۔ ہم بلا تفریق تمام سیاسی جماعتوں کی قیادت کے بھی ممنون ہیں، جنہوں نے سیاسی اختلافات سے بالا تر ہو کر وطن کے دفاع میں متحد ہو کر افواج پاکستان کے شانہ بشانہ کھڑے ہونے کا بہترین مظاہرہ کیا۔ مسلح افواج بالخصوص پاکستان کے وزیر اعظم اور ان کی کابینہ کی قائدانہ صلاحیتوں اور جرأت مندانہ فیصلوں کی بھی قدردان ہیں، جنہوں نے ملک کو اس نازک موڑ پر درست سمت میں رہنمائی فراہم کی۔ خواتین و حضرات، اب میں آپ کو آپریشن بنیانم مرصوص کی تفصیلات سے آگاہ کروں گا۔ پاکستان کا جواب ایک نصابی نمونہ تھا جس میں تینوں افواج کی مکمل ہم آہنگی کے ساتھ حقیقی وقت پر صورتحال کی آگاہی، نیٹ ورک سینٹرک وارفیئر اور ملٹی ڈومین آپریشنز کی مکمل صلاحیت بروئے کار لائی گئی۔ زمین، فضا، سمندر اور سائبر سپیس میں مکمل ہم آہنگی سے اہم اہداف کو تباہ کیا گیا۔ پاکستان فوج کے F-1 اور F-2 دور مار کرنے والے میزائل، پاک فضائیہ کے جدید پریسائز منیشن، طویل فاصلے تک مار کرنے والے لوئٹرنگ ایمونیشن اور جدید پریسائز ارٹلری کے ذریعے بھارت کے 26 اہم فوجی اہداف کو نشانہ بنایا گیا۔ وہ تنصیبات جو پاکستانی شہریوں کو نشانہ بنانے کے لیے استعمال ہوئیں اور وہ تنصیبات جو پاکستان میں دہشت گردی کو فروغ دینے میں استعمال ہوتی ہیں، اور ان تنصیبات کو نہ صرف بھارتی غیر قانونی زیر تسلط جموں و کشمیر میں بلکہ بھارت کے اندر بھی نشانہ بنایا گیا۔ نشانہ بنانے والے فضائی اور ہوائی اڈوں میں ایئر فورس اور ایویشن بیسز سورت گڑھ، سرسا، بھج، نالیا، آدم پور، بھٹنڈا، برنالہ، ہلواڑہ، اونتی پورہ، سری نگر، جموں، ادھم پور، مامون، امبالہ اور پٹھان کوٹ شامل تھے۔ بیاس اور نگروٹا میں موجود براموس میزائل کے ذخائر جو پاکستانی شہریوں پر حملوں میں استعمال ہوئے ان کو تباہ کیا گیا۔ S-400 ایئر ڈیفنس سسٹم کو پاک فضائیہ نے بوجھ اور آدم پور میں نشانہ بنایا۔ اڑی میں فیلڈ سپلائی ڈیپو اور پونچھ میں ریڈار سٹیشن جیسے لاجسٹک اور سپورٹ مراکز کو بھی نشانہ بنایا گیا۔ کے جی ٹاپ اور نشیرہ میں موجود 10 بریگیڈ اور 80 بریگیڈ کی کمانڈ تنصیبات کو بھی تباہ کیا گیا۔ یہ وہ تنصیبات ہیں جہاں سے بلا اشتعال فائرنگ کر کے معصوم بچوں اور عورتوں کو نشانہ بنایا گیا۔ راجوڑی اور نشیرہ میں موجود ملٹری انٹیلیجنس کی یونٹیں اور ان کے فیلڈ عناصر جو پاکستان میں دہشت گردی میں ملوث پراکسیز کو سپورٹ دیتے تھے ان کو بھی ختم کیا گیا۔ لائن آف کنٹرول کے پار وہ تمام آرٹلری، لاجسٹک اور پوسٹیں جو آزاد جموں اینڈ کشمیر میں سولینز پر فائرنگ کرتی تھیں ان پر شدید اور مسلسل جوابی کارروائی کی گئی، یہاں تک کہ انہوں نے سفید جھنڈے اٹھا لیے۔ بھارت نے ڈرونز کے ذریعے پاکستانی فضا کی خلاف ورزی کی تاکہ عوام میں خوف پھیلایا جا سکے اور ان کو ہراساں کیا جا سکے۔ اس کے رد عمل میں آپریشن بنیان و مرصوص کے دوران پاکستان کی مسلح ڈرونز بھارت کے بڑے شہروں انکلوڈنگ دارالحکومت نیو دہلی اور انلیگلی آکوپائڈ جموں اینڈ کشمیر سے لے کر گجرات تک مسلسل پرواز کرتے رہے تاکہ پاکستان کی صلاحیت کا نہ صرف اظہار کیا جا سکے اور بلکہ یہ بتایا جا سکے کہ اس ڈرونز کے ڈومین کا موجودہ وارفیئر میں کوئی فائدہ نہیں۔ پاکستانی فوج نے بھرپور سائبر حملے بھی کیے جن کے نتیجے میں ان بھارتی اہم مواصلاتی اور انفراسٹرکچر نظام کو مفلوج کیا گیا جو کہ بھارتی افواج کے استعمال کر رہی تھی۔ یہ یاد رہے کہ پاکستانی افواج کے پاس ایسی کئی جدید جنگی صلاحیتیں موجود ہیں جن کا کچھ کا استعمال اس تنازع میں محدود سطح پر کیا گیا اور کئی صلاحیتیں آئندہ کے لیے محفوظ رکھی گئی ہیں۔ ان سب اقدامات کے باوجود میں واضح کرنا چاہتا ہوں کہ بھارت کی مسلسل اشتعال انگیزی کے مقابلے میں پاکستان کا رد عمل نہایت درست، متوازن اور محدود نوعیت کا رہا۔ ہر ہدف جو ہمارے معصوم شہریوں کے قتل یا پاکستان میں دہشت گردی میں براہ راست ملوث تھا ان کو احتیاط سے نہ صرف منتخب کیا گیا بلکہ انشور کیا گیا کہ عام شہری متاثر نہ ہوں۔ ہم یہ بھی واضح کرنا چاہتے ہیں کہ جب مشرقی سرحد پر افواج پاکستان دفاع میں مصروف تھیں تو خیبر پختونخوا اور بلوچستان میں بھارتی سرپرستی میں دہشت گردی میں غیر معمولی اضافہ ہوا، جو اس بات کا دوبارہ ایک ناقابل تردید ثبوت ہے کہ بھارت پاکستان میں دہشت گردی کو اپنی پراکسیز کے ذریعے فروغ دے رہا ہے۔ تاہم افواج پاکستان نے مغربی محاذ پر بھی انسداد دہشت گردی آپریشنز کو بغیر کسی وقفے کے کامیابی سے جاری رکھا۔ خواتین و حضرات، آپریشن بنیان و مرصوص ایک ایسی شاندار مثال ہے جہاں قوم کی تمام طاقتیں متحد ہوئیں اور متحد ہو کر مادر وطن کے تحفظ کے لیے کھڑی ہو گئیں۔ کسی کو بھی کوئی شک نہیں ہونا چاہیے کہ جب کبھی ہماری خود مختاری یا سرحدوں کی خلاف ورزی کی گئی، ہمارا رد عمل جامع، جوابی اور فیصلہ کن ہوگا۔ افواج پاکستان پاکستانی قوم کو اس کے حوصلے، عزم اور حب الوطنی پر سلام پیش کرتی ہے۔ اور آخر میں سورہ انفال کی ان آیات پر ختم کرنا چاہوں گا، وَيَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ۔ وہ تو اپنی تدبیریں کر رہے تھے اور اللہ اپنی تدبیر کر رہا تھا، اور وہ سب سے مستحکم تدبیر کرنے والا ہے۔ پاکستان زندہ باد، افواج پاکستان پائندہ باد۔ اب میں آپ کو اس آپریشن کی مزید جزیات سے آگاہ کرنے کے لیے آپ کی توجہ اسکرین کی جانب مقبول کرانا چاہوں گا۔
كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة بإذن الله. And the translation reads, how many times it happened that a smaller force vanquished a bigger force by the will of Allah. History has proven that the complete nation and its armed forces have always stood together with all their might against any act of aggression. Alhamdulillah, we have the will, capacity and capability to protect our sovereignty and territorial integrity, and we are all well aware of the ways and means to do it. Our forefathers, they have sacrificed immensely, and we have sacrificed a lot for the creation of this country, and we know how to defend it. If this great Pakistani nation and the Pakistani armed forces, if 1.3 million Indian army with all their wherewithal, if they cannot intimidate us and they cannot coerce us, these terrorists can subdue the armed forces of Pakistan.
ہم صرف یہ کہنا چاہتے ہیں کہ نہ ہم تمہاری طاقت، نہ تمہاری مکاری اور تمہاری جارحیت سے مروب ہونے والی قوم ہے۔ Now you just wait for our response.
Bismillah ar-Rahman. Today on 10th May at the time of Fajr, we have given a strong punch to our enemy. Alhamdulillah. Nare Allahu Akbar.
Today is 10th May 2025 and this is a smashing response to a coward enemy, and it will inshallah continue. Nare Takbir!
next slide. If you remember, the armed forces of Pakistan promised you three things. We told you that we will give a befitting response to Indian aggression. We told you and we told the nation that, however, this response will be at the time, place, and method of our own choosing. And we also told the nation that when we will hit the Indians, the entire world will come to know. And we also told that you will not require the Indian media to report to you the phantom strikes that they said that Pakistan is taking place. Didn't we tell you all these three things? We told you. And we also told you that as these armed forces say, we ardently love to embrace Shahadat far more than you fear death. So, gentlemen, this is how it culminated. And see that didn't the whole world hear and report? Because that's what we promised. Your armed forces promised and delivered that. Now I would like to draw your attention to the next clip, that how the Indian Ministry of Defence itself reported this.
Pakistan military continued with its provocations, carrying out aggressive actions employing multiple threat vectors all along the western border. Pakistan employed UCAV, drones, long-range weapons, loitering munitions and fighter aircrafts to target military infrastructure. Pakistan military also resorted to air intrusions using drones and firing of heavy caliber weapons along the line of control. Air intrusion and several harassment attacks were also attempted from Srinagar till Nalia at more than 26 locations. Damage was sustained to equipment and personnel at Indian Air Force stations at Udhampur, Pathankot, Adhampur and Bhuj. There were also several high-speed missile attacks noticed with heavy damages to other military stations in Kupwara, Baramulla, Poonch, Rajouri and Akhnur sectors continued. Indian Armed Forces reiterate their commitment to non-escalation provided it is reciprocated by the Pakistan military.
भारतीय सशस्त्र बल दोहराते हैं कि वे तनाव वृद्धि नहीं चाहते, बशर्ते पाकिस्तान भी ऐसा ही व्यवहार करे.
So did you find even there from the Indian statements that did Pakistan attack anything other than military targets? No. Did any international media, even Indian media, what are they reporting? Precise targeting of the military installations, posts. We told you that we don't target civilians. Our religion does not allow us. Our culture does not allow us. Our professionalism of these armed forces doesn't allow us. That we will never target civilians. So they are even acknowledging that. And they are also saying that once they received the message, once they got the message, then who asked for non-escalation? Who requested that they want non-escalation, that the things should go down? So it's for all to see. So now I will request first Vice Admiral Rab Nawaz to give you a short brief on the naval operations that were part of the Operation Bunyano Marsoos, followed by Air Vice Marshal Aurangzeb on the air operations. And after that, we will take your questions and answers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll very briefly talk about the role of Pakistan Navy in the defense of Pakistan during this particular crisis. And by the grace of Almighty Allah and with Almighty's help, we were able to defend Pakistan's sea frontiers and deter an enemy which is numerically superior. We kept the enemy at bay, and I'll just briefly talk about how we executed our operations. So essentially, protection of Pakistan's maritime interests and seaboard defense, that is the task of the Navy. And Alhamdulillah, with the help of Almighty Allah, we were able to do that. On any given day of the year, we maintain perpetual readiness. And what that means is that our ships and submarines, they are stocked up, all the military logistics are stocked up. And for us, the transition from peace to war is not only swift, it's almost invisible. And when this false flag thing happened in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, we immediately mobilized and we completed the operational deployments of Pakistani Navy fleet units and also the coastal command units in matter of hours. Our submarines, our ships and aircraft, they were at in their respective areas where they were supposed to be, and we were ready to thwart any aggression from the sea. And go on to the next slide. Ladies and gentlemen, maritime domain awareness, that is essentially to know what is happening in your area of interest. That is critical for the naval operations. And I'll just briefly talk about that, because to generate any response, you need to be aware of the happening in your area of responsibility. And we were maintaining 24/7 vigil at sea. And okay. A couple of days back, there was a hype. You heard about INS Vikrant approaching Karachi. And I'll just briefly tell you that we were keeping a very close eye on the activities at sea. And this is essentially the Indian Navy surface disposition throughout these days. They had a couple of ships in this particular area. They were moving around in this area. And then there's a ship off Salala, which was operating over there. And this is the much talked about the Indian carrier. We were monitoring it right from the day one. On 30th of April, it was here. Then it moved up here. Subsequently, it moved up here. And on the night of 6th and 7th May, it was back, close to Ratnagiri, very close to Mumbai. And then on 9th May, it was here, essentially 400 nautical miles away from Pakistani coast. And again, then it retreated back close to Mumbai. So we were keeping a very close track on this particular carrier movement. And there was no cause of concern at any time. If the carrier comes closer to 400 nautical miles and even closer, that essentially simplifies our problem. So we were the Pakistan Navy Maritime Air Arm in coordination with the strike component of Pakistan Air Force. They were cockpit ready to generate any kind of response at that time, at all times. And I was in constant communication with the Deputy Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Aurangzeb at all times, and we were just ready. If there is any aggression from the sea, we were there to respond effectively. And let me say another thing. That is, you know about the carriers, you have seen them in the movies, but as a professional military officer, I don't want to underestimate the enemy, but let's put the things in the right perspective. The INS Vikrant and the carrier, the Western carrier, there's a huge difference. This is an aircraft carrier which essentially sailed with 8 to 12 MiG-29s, which was barely essential to carry out its own air defense. The purpose of the carriers is power projection and to ensure air superiority in a given sea area. So with this, less said the better. This is simply not possible, and the Indian Navy exactly knew this, and that is precisely why on the 9th of 6th and 7th, when they carried out this cowardly attack on the civilians, they moved this carrier to the safety of their own coast, well away from Pakistan's strike capability, close to this Ratnagiri area. And again, on the night of 9th and 10th, it was moved very close to the Mumbai. It was essentially 17 to 20 nautical miles off Mumbai. But we were keeping a track. We were fully aware of their movements in this area, and we were always ready to generate a response in coordination with the Air Force, especially in case of the aircraft carrier. Subsurface elements, the offensive element, they were offensively deployed. They were in their respective areas and ready to generate a response. And also, You might have seen this footage. You know, we were not only in the surface domain, but we were essentially effectively monitoring their air surveillance things. And because of the operation security reason, I'll not talk much about how we did that, but we were keeping an eye on this particular activity as well. And likewise, in the subsurface domain, our anti-submarine warfare vigilance was all-time high. We were monitoring the movement of their submarines when they left their shores, and we exactly, had an idea where they would be, and we had our ASW surveillance and suppression effectively going on at all times. Likewise, another component of Pakistan Navy's responsibility is the defense of the Creek area. We had our coastal command units deployed over there in close coordination with headquarters 5 Corps elements, Pakistan Army elements, and they were poised to defend this particular area in case of any aggression from the south. Another important component is the protection of ports and harbors. You have just heard the DG ISPR talked about the subconventional threat that we witnessed. There was a surge in other part of the country, and we were, there were real-time apprehension that there may be a surge. So we ensured the protection of all ports and harbors of Pakistan, and coastal command elements, they effectively played a very, very important role in this. And just to mention that on the night of 6 and 7, when they carried out the attack on Pakistan, we were fully ready to respond to any aggression from the sea. We were just ready, and but the enemy chose not to come over. It was essentially not a matter of choice. I would say it was a matter of compulsion, because enemy fully understood the cost it would have incurred had it ventured from the sea. And likewise, वापस जाइएगा, go back please, go back. And a few words about the missile threat that you have talked about. You must have heard the enemy missile attack. We were keeping a very close eye on enemy deployment in this area, from where they can potentially launch a missile threat towards Karachi. We were fully aware, and we had our response ready to in that eventuality. And go on to the next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, all operations, whatever we do in the military domain, they are to create certain effects. We look for the effects, and the effect that we created, we were able to resolutely, with our posture, we were able to deter the Indian Navy despite its numerical superiority. Number of times have more assets and more forces, and with an annual budget of like $13 billion. So Pakistan Navy, with its potential, with its posture, with its capability, was effectively able to deter the Indian Navy from doing any venture from the sea, alhamdulillah. And that is very, very important. That is essentially the job of the Navy, to ensure that the free flow of trade continues. That's the backbone of the economy. Our 95% of trade is through the sea. Alhamdulillah, we were able to ensure that the shipping continues, the free flow of trade was ensured, and we were able, all our ports and harbors, they remained open. And you can Google yourself. So what was the case on the other side? You can Google about Kandla and Mundra, and there were some disruptions, but that you can check for yourself. But alhamdulillah, we were able to effectively ensure this. Next. We had a wonderful inter-services synergy, very effective communication, and like I said, I was in constant touch with the DGMO and the Deputy Chief of Air Staff Operations. At all times, we fully coordinated our operations, and alhamdulillah, and I think that's really successful for execution of maritime operations. Aage chale. Alhamdulillah, we came up to the national expectations. We ensured defense of Pakistan's maritime frontiers, and we were able to deter the enemy from any adventurism from the sea. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that we remain ever ready to thwart any aggression from the sea at all times. So we will keep our guard. We always keep our guard, and inshallah we will keep our guard in days to come. And last but not the least, I'll end my presentation that the next time when you think of Pakistan Navy and the silent guy, please remember that with the help of Almighty Allah, our actions will always speak louder than words. Thank you very much, and I request AVM Aurangzeb.
So the Indians didn't choose to come on the sea. Now you understand why.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وتعز من تشاء وتذل من تشاء بيدك الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. On behalf of Pakistan Air Force, Chief of the Air Staff, Pakistan Air Force, I stand here with you all with deep-rooted humility and gratitude. I am so thankful for Allah helped us in achieving whatever we desired, even whatever we deserved, more than what we deserved. For being able to be up to the task for PF, as they say, second to none. Ladies and gentlemen, as the DGSPR mentioned, I am Deputy Chief of Air Staff Operations. I'll pick up from where I left day before yesterday. PF versus IF, 6-0. The PF's response has strengthened Pakistan's national security, alhamdulillah. And it has even strengthened our commitment, the enduring commitment the PF has for stability and peace. But I have no doubt, and I can say with assurances, that the real genius and the mastermind, the cerebrum behind the design and the aim and the structure, the game plan of PF was the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal Zahir Ahmed Babad Sidhu. He asked us to do 3 things in our response: re-establish deterrence, neutralize key threats, retain control of air. And I will show you in my presentation how we try to do that. Slide. During the befitting response that we generated in our first episode, we attrited the IF's pride, the Rafales, resulting in this entire fleet almost coming to a standstill, a ground position. You could see that they were not flying after that, at least not close to their western border. This reduction in flying to bare minimum actually reduced their liberty of action. They curtailed their options. Slide. This is the Pakistan's air defense environment. Pakistan air defense environment is offensive, it's integrated, it's credible. And I'll show you. IF initiated having no space with their manned aircraft. They initiated with their unmanned aircraft operations, targeting Pakistan's civilian population and their infrastructure. Here you see all these spots all across the swath of drones and UAVs who are coming inside our territory, which is being picked up by all our radars from the moment they were entering, even before that. Slide. Now, PF's air defense environment is suitably configured to detect enemies' low RCS radio radar cross-section, high and slow speed platforms. That you can see that they are all visible by the time they are entering. Slide. So the anti-drone systems of Pakistan Air Force and Pakistan Army also, and Navy, they rendered the enemy US drones attacks ineffective by spoofing, jamming, and making their systems, rendering them unserviceable. Slide. All drones with low cross-section also were detected, rendered useless through utilization of the indigenous GPS jamming systems that we have, the data and the SATCOM link denial that we created through our indigenous systems that we have made ourselves. So whenever those systems were attacked with the soft kill, they had their error induced into the GPSs and they were going haywire. And whenever they were coming closer to any civil population or civil area of high value, a direct or a hot kill was achieved on them. Slide. So here you can see they were neutralized mid-air with the hard kill whenever they were coming close to any population or any area. Being in a sparsely populated area, they were left all around and they were applied with the soft kill. Slide. Now, after that, when the US chapter was over and they were fearing PF's retribution, in utter desperation, the IF resorted to a highly escalatory, very irresponsible surface-to-surface and long-range vector application. You can see this is Suratgarh and this is our base Rafiki. This is our eastern border, and you can see the BrahMos, high-speed BrahMos traveling almost at 3,000 kilometers per hour, who are going over there and coming, numerous, one after another. And now they were being attacked with PF's soft kill. We were inducing the errors into them, into the GPSs, which increase their CEP. The probability of missing the target increases. And hard kill was also achieved. Here you see one of the US has gone, if by the end of the slide you see one of the US has overshot the target and gone ahead. And this is the radar picture. You can see that they are going, this BrahMos will miss the target and will go ahead and fall in some no man's land. And they are being, one after another, they are coming back, crossing the borders. They are being picked, slide. They are being picked as soon as they are being launched. So real-time launch, mid-flight and terminal phase of all SSM, PF has the capability. Our air defense system, as I just mentioned, is very offensive, integrated, and credible. So here you see that they are being launched from Bhuj area. This is the southern part of the country. And this is our airfield Bhulari. You must have mentioned, you have seen there were a lot of mention from our counterparts. Here you see this BrahMos is coming. It's almost reaching the target, and you'll see when we will apply the soft kill, look what happened to it. It moved left and then disappeared towards the ground. I mean, this is the radar evidence that we have that there so many of their vectors missed the targets. A lot of them did make because they were throwing like hundreds of them. Next slide. There's one more very interesting thing that I would like you to all see. This is where it is launched from our eastern side towards Jaisalmer. This is our airfield Shahbaz, Jacobabad. Now this BrahMos is crossing on top of Shahbaz, and it is going towards our western border, almost to our neighboring country, towards that. You can see this is going there, it's going ballistic. Now they are not even threatening their neighbor, they are threatening the regional stability of the whole continent and the larger area. So effective sensor to shooter grid that was made by PAF and the potent hardened soft kill capability that led to the missed target opportunities for lots of their surface-to-surface and long-range vectors. Slide. Now this is another thing that I want you to all to see. This is a launch of a high-speed projectile that has been launched from their area surrounding Adampur. Now these are the vectors where our radars are picking them, and it is disappearing short of Amritsar area within their own territory. I mean, this is the most absurd kind of a targeting psychology or practice that you would see, that you are not only targeting neighboring countries to your enemy, if they consider it, and your own people as well, jeopardizing their safety. I mean, this is the high-speed project impacting within own territory, and we have other pictures for that also. This is the repeat occurrence that happened the other night also. Slide. Now the PF's response, I would like you all to pay attention to that, because this is kind of a dizzy slide, but I will go one by one so that it's all clear. PF's response, PF's effective spectrum warfare, which supplemented the kinetic ops that we envisaged to take. The integrated, seamless, synchronous utilization of EW, cyber, and space domains, coupled with the synergetic all-domain offensive response, which orchestrated following a very intricate targeting mech, the mechanism that we undertook to engage the targets, of swift, calibrated, effect-based approach to operations, which was undertaken across complete swath of the Indian Western Front. Now you have seen in the video montage that the whole border was exposed by PF and our armed forces. So starting from the north across LOC till Kandla, with targets including airfields, ammo dumps as far and as deep as Delhi. I mean, you can say something about Islamabad, which is a stone's throw distance, and Delhi, with, as the DG Aspire mentioned, some others cards up our sleeves with more ranges. The Barnala C2 Center, which is the heart of their IACCS, and other airfields, Nalia Bhuj and Kandla, as they mentioned. You can see, Google it also so that you can see the effects. PF's hypersonic missiles, unmanned force, stand-up weapons, and long-range vectors all were on the menu for the multi-domain operations that we undertook. So PF's utilization of niche and disruptive capabilities struck deep inside the enemy. And there were like hundreds of drones that were there. Hypersonic, engaged targets, deep, precise, lethal, destructive. Slide. Just go back. I will explain the slide that is coming ahead. So our aim was to achieve ascendancy in effects so that we manage the escalation. Throughout the conflict of whatever length it was, we had the escalation management at our side. So within a short span of time of couple of hours, we had really saturated our friendly neighborhood. Next slide. This much talked about S-400 threat. As I mentioned that we were giving special attention to the Rafales in the air, so we gave our remaining part of our attention to the S-400 on ground. Now identifying S-400, attacking them is a easier part than identifying it on ground because it is mobile, it's a high value thing, and you guard it. It's kind of a center of gravity. So we were tracking through our satellite imagery well before the hostilities, as we usually do. So we had pinpointed S-400. As you can see, we knew that this is parked. It's cheeseboard radar and the other part of the radar, the other constituents of the whole S4 battery. Slide. These coordinates, go back. These coordinates were ortho-rectified by our space department so that you have a very precise engagement. Whenever you are throwing and employing long-range vectors, you really need very precise coordinates so that you don't miss. So S-400 was at Adampur was targeted like that. Next. As I mentioned, some niche technologies and capabilities were employed. So our loiter munition and killer drone strike at PF. At Udhampur, you can see this was their complex and command and control, magnified before and after. It's not there. Now these kind of pictures, loads of pictures are there for targets. So I need not to show them. They were saying it themselves, as you saw on the montage. So PF's response remained very effective, very potent, and very effect-based. Slide. Time and place of own choosing, displaying bold, aggressive, and unwavering resolve of military leadership. Now I must take a moment to mention what kind of a pressure you have when this kind of a conflict arises, and I must appreciate the leadership, both the Chief of the Army Staff and Chief of the Air Staff, both. They were both very resolute and very clear in giving instructions to all of us who are the players towards the Navy, Army, and the Air Force. And that is perhaps the reason we were so sure about it, what we have to do. In speed and direction, sometimes you have to prioritize direction more than the speed. So we had the correct directions to follow. Slide. With unprecedented reach, precision, lethality, while avoiding collateral, as we have seen in the video montage. PF hit maximum number of IF airfields in a single operational package since 1971, because they crossed the international border since that, so we had to do that. Slide. While re-establishing deterrence, Pakistan negated the setting of a new normal under the hegemonistic design of a supremacist regime through swift and effective response. Slide. On a closing note, from Pakistan Air Force, PF remains committed to ensure Pakistan's airspace sovereignty and pursue peace with strength. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, after these presentations, you can understand that Army, Air Force and Navy, the tri-service synergy that was exhibited, and all the three services acted jointly like one body. And just a mention on the air bases that were targeted by the Indians. We have the post-damage assessment report from all. There has been certain infrastructure damage. Of course, there has been. Only one aircraft has minor damage, which will be repaired and soon operational again. So, because the air defense system of Pakistan worked efficiently and very effectively. A few examples of that have been given to you by the AVM Aurangzeb. The drones that came in, 84 was shot and they never went back. And we also promise you that they can send anything, whatever they will send, it will not go back. So that's a promise also that we kept. So now we can start with the question and answer. And before that, we again first bow our heads in humility to Almighty Allah for giving us this great success, and the people of Pakistan for the support that was with the armed forces. And the armed forces and the people of Pakistan were one body again. They worked together for thwarting this threat against this motherland. So we can have the first question.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. This is Sumaira Khan from Sama Television. And first of all, let me convey the pulse of the nation as well. They cannot reach you in person, every one of them, but the heart of felicitation is indeed with you from the masses of Pakistan, specifically youth, you mentioned very rightly. My question is, in that whole span of escalation, the Indian government had been issuing extremely provocative statements regarding initiation of war, and not just the government, but unfortunately their media was also, to me it seemed very war frenzy. And but in that whole time, in the meanwhile, I saw Pakistani side and I saw you very defensively responding to all the hegemony and Indian aggression. So I just wanted to know that it was part of your strategy. What was that? Or you never wanted that escalation to rise to all those levels? And a quick comment from Aurangzeb as well, that the multi-domain, how would you elaborate it? How did you incur it in the PF strategy to kill the Indian side in the battlefield? Thank you.
So as far as the question to the escalation is concerned, let me say it. The reality is that in a conflict which is between two rival nuclear powers, such a conflict is actually an absurdity, and it is inconceivable and sheer stupidity. Why? Because that conflict can lead, in the case of Indo-Pakistan, India-Pakistan, can lead to the peril of more than 1.6 billion people. So, in reality, there is no space for war between India and Pakistan. And if anyone wants to carve out this space for war, he is actually carving out space for mutual annihilation. So that is why you saw that in this conflict, Pakistan acted in a very mature manner. And through conventional forces, we maintained escalation control. Through conventional forces, we gave them a notch up, a two-notch up response, while also ensuring that these forces, the Pakistan Army and the other forces that were employed on the Western Front, on the counter-terrorism operations, no pull is also exerted on them. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay, you just asked regarding the multi-domain operations. It's a very, very good question because this is the buzzword nowadays, but it's not actually something in the air. It's a actual real milestone for PEF. The warfare has changed drastically, and so has everything that is associated with it. It's not the erstwhile concept where you can just get the number of aircraft in air and see. It's called a new AMSO, the electromagnetic spectrum operations. It's a whole new environment that is there. And everything that is regarding Air Force and in the air, it's concerning the electromagnetic spectrum. Now, air supremacy has to be preceded by a spectrum supremacy. And if you control the spectrum, you control the conflict. So Pakistan Air Force, and especially this is a thing that is pursued so vigorously by Chief of the Air Staff, that we have to have that spectrum warfare capability. And you saw how we manifested it. It is a combination of EW, space, cyber, air, land, and sea, command, control, communication, infrastructure, information. All these things, they are in the wider spectrum of electromagnetic operations. And that is how you create an environment. You create a EW web that you manifest in the whole operations. It has to be choreographed at each step, and when to administer what. And it has to be preconceived. I mean, you can't do it randomly, and you cannot just do it on your whims. So you have to understand the whole idea and whole architecture. It might get pretty technical, but multi-domain operations is the need of the day, and all those air forces who kind of relegate it, they end up in the wrong side of the barrel. So Pakistan Air Force prioritizes it. We have our own Spectrum Warfare Operations Center, which is controlling the even in a small battle or an engagement to a larger campaign. Because now all the players who are there, all aircraft, they have so much of sensors and there's so much of fusion going on, the data links, the software defined radars, they're all thriving on the electromagnetic spectrum or being challenged by it. So each player is taking a campaign level decision, the kind of information he is having. And if he doesn't get that information, he is redundant. So electromagnetic warfare is the need of the hour, and multi-domain operations is what carries you, propels you to perform and achieve the mission success with mission survivability, denying the same to the enemy. Thank you.
My name is Kiran. I'm from the Khorasan Diary. Sir, I have two questions on what basically I need confirmation. Is that one, when President Trump tweeted about the ceasefire, they said that Pakistan and India can talk in a third country. और अभी जो शाम में इंडियन अथॉरिटीज़ की मीटिंग प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई है, they said that the DGMOs spoke in which Pakistani DGMO asked for ceasefire first, and tomorrow there is a call already planned at 1200. Meanwhile, the IAF said that their operation is still continued. So what is Pakistan's strategy tomorrow when the two DGMOs are going to talk? And the second thing is that as international media also reported that Pakistan has Indian pilot in the custody. So do we have Indian pilot in our custody? And if we have, are we going to return her or him?
So I can confirm you very clearly, we don't have any pilot in custody. This is all social media chatter. This is all part of the multiple source of fake news and propaganda that has been generated from multiple sources. As far as your first question is concerned, let me say it very clearly and put it on record. Pakistan never requested. The fact of the matter is that on the night of 6th and 7th May, once those ghastly and cowardly attacks were made, the Indians requested after those attacks. And Pakistan gave a very clear response that we will communicate back only after we have given the response that this and retribution that this act deserves. So on 10th of May, after that response and retribution, that just retribution, targeting not the civilians, but those military establishments, those units, those places from where the attack on the civilians, the innocent civilians, the children was made, once they were neutralized and taken out. And on the request and intervention of the international interlocutors, we responded to the already made request of the Indians. And if you see publicly, what's on the public record? What I have shown you just now. What was the public position of the Ministry of Defence of the Indian Armed Forces? Who was asking for non-escalation once the just retribution of Pakistan Armed Forces have gone? So I think the record publicly, the facts speak for themselves. You want me to make public that what strategy are we going to adopt? For any threat, anything that they can pose, posture, your armed forces are always vigilant and ready. We have proved it on ground multiple times. We can prove it. So, and we don't respond. And we are not here for a response that what they said. And so it's not that what they said that I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll come to you after that.
Thank you very much. Saima Shabir from Arab News. Sir, my question is related to tomorrow's meeting by DGMOs. Pakistan has declared the suspension of Indus Water Treaty as an act of war. So if tomorrow on the agenda this Indus Water Treaty suspension is on the table and India does not call it off, I mean, it does not regulate it again, and it is suspended till the time. So what would be the strategy by Pakistan Army, because Pakistan has called it an act of war?
So the position of the government of Pakistan on the Indus Water Treaty is absolutely clear, and no further comment is needed on that. Our Turkish friend over here is raising his hands again and again. Skardu, okay. I thought you are from the Andolo news agency. Sir, many people thought I am Chinese here. Yes. Khaplu, great place. Great place.
I am from Khaplu Chwar at the border area, just a half hour from the Indian border.
Oh, sir, I am from British. Okay. Sorry for the mistaken identity.
So we can go with the question. Sir, my question is that
अहमद मंसूर 24 न्यूज़ से ताल्लुक़ है। जनरल साहब, हमारी जो फोर्सेस की लीडरशिप है उसके लिए बहुत कुछ कहने को है, लेकिन मैं सिर्फ ये कहूँगा कि जो बॉडी लैंग्वेज स्ट्राइक्स आपने की हैं इस सारे कन्फ्लिक्ट में, उन्होंने भी बॉर्डर पर बड़ा कुछ हिला के रखा है। सवाल सर मेरा ये है कि मसला कश्मीर एक ऐसा है कि उसकी वजह से दो एटमी जो ताकतें हैं वो एक खौफनाक जंग पूरी दुनिया को हिला के रख देती है। इस दफ़ा फिर यही हुआ। और अभी जो सदर ट्रंप ने अभी जो दूसरा ट्वीट किया है, उन्होंने मसला कश्मीर को एक मुतनाज़ा इलाका करार दिया है, उसका जिक्र मुतनाज़ा खित्ते के तौर पे किया है। तो इंडिया तो इसको अपने तौर पे इसको गैर मुतनाज़ा कहे बैठा है, लेकिन क्या ये एक बड़ा नादर मौका नहीं है, सुनहरी मौका नहीं है पाकिस्तान के पास कि अब इस जो कन्फ्लिक्ट के तनाज़र में अब चूंकि दुनिया भी राब्ते में है, सबकी नज़रें हैं इस पे, तो पाकिस्तान दोबारा मसला कश्मीर को आलमी सतह पे लेके जाए, कोई इस मंतकी अंजाम इसका हो जाए?
Kashmir remains central to the dispute between India and Pakistan. And peace between India and Pakistan will always elude till the time there is not the resolution of the Kashmir as per the United Nations resolutions and as per the will of the people of Kashmir. So that is important to understand. Till the time that is not done, there cannot be enduring peace between India and Pakistan. So this military conflict has once again put Kashmir right as the flashpoint which needs to be resolved, which needs to be as per the will of the people of the Kashmir. And you have alluded to the tweet and the international power rightly understanding that this issue of Kashmir needs to be resolved. The problem here is that what we are seeing is, and I talked about it in my last press conference also, is that India continues to internalize this external problem. Kashmir is an external problem with Pakistan, India and the people of Kashmir. It is on the UNSC resolution. It's an internationally recognized dispute. And India is trying to internalize it. How? By trying to change the demography of Kashmir, by trying to change the legal status in violation of the UNSC resolutions and the international commitments that India has made, by the coercion and harassment of the people of illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and multiple other actions, by the oppression that is going on and the just and the just struggle of the people of Kashmir for their rights, and then on the pretext of law and order, on the pretext of terrorism, you are seeing what's happening even after Pahalgam in Kashmir. Houses of the people are being bulldozed, blasted. People are being taken into custody, and not in dozens but in hundreds, in thousands. You have got so much security forces, so many intelligence people, so much state power put in that very small place. The rights of the people, the plight of the women, the plight of the children. So it's an international issue. Talk it out, find a solution which satisfies the will of the people. So that is what needs to be done as far as Kashmir is concerned.
सर, मोहम्मद इमरान सुनो न्यूज़ से। सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि क्या इंटरनेशनल गारंटीज दी गई हैं कि जो सीज फायर है वो कोई लंबे अरसे के लिए सस्टेन कर सकेगा?
You see, being the spokesperson of the armed forces of Pakistan, I can state with 200% certainty that the Pakistan armed forces are holding the line of control ceasefire. No violation is being made by Pakistan Army or the armed forces. Because we are a professional army and we strongly abide by the commitments that we make, and we follow in letter and spirit the orders of the political government. That's what the professional army does. Now, if you see in reality what's happening in Pakistan, Pakistan is celebrating peace. You go to the streets and towns of Pakistan, the Pakistanis are celebrating peace. Does it make any sense for Pakistan to start violating the commitment that we made? It doesn't make any sense. Because we are a peace-loving nation. Peace within and without. However, if there is any aggression, we will respond, and we respond then.
So thank you so much. My name is Raza. I'm from Iranian State News Agency. If you allow me, I have a question from the Honorable Vice Admiral. So thank you. We have seen the activities of the Navy before the escalation and the readiness. As the Indian Navy P-81 was being closely tracked and even seen on media, why Pakistan Navy decided not to shoot it down? And you refer to the limitation facing by the Indian aircraft carrier. Keeping in view the limitation of the Indian aircraft carrier, can you please explain us why India have not brought its carrier to, for so-called possible attack?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the question. Okay. First of all, like I told you that the war is not fought in isolation by a single service. So, whatever we do, it's a very well coordinated effort. So, all actions are calibrated amongst the three armed forces at what time, what is to be done. So, at that time, when that was the video of 4th and 5th of May, we just demonstrated that we were keeping a very close vigilance, and I've mentioned our, the very effective coordination and collaboration with Pakistan Air Force. So I'll not go into those details because of the operational security reasons, but essentially that was simply to send across a message that if we can track, so we can go to the next level, but that is based on the national decision-making line. That's not an isolated. The Navy will always act in sync with the all three services, and that would be a national security decision-making thing. So when the time will come for that to happen, so inshallah we will respond in that fashion. The aircraft carrier, I mentioned, for example, we can have that slide, Kazim, if he's here. So this is the aircraft carrier which is having 8 to 12 MiG-29s, which is barely enough to carry out its own air defense. And aircraft carriers, if the Western air carrier, if you talk of the 4th class aircraft carriers, they carry like 75 plus aircraft. And the purpose is to project the power and to have the air superiority in the theater of war. So, and that is how they influence operations from sea to land. So here, in case of INS Vikrant, the aircraft that it was carrying, they were barely enough to carry out its own air defense. And, the question of projecting power ashore or to maintaining an air superiority in a conflict theater, that's simply not possible. We know that, the Indian Navy understands that, and that is why it was more of a psychological, trying to create a deception or a psychological effect. And we fully understood that. And like I said, we were always ready. Had there been any aggression, we, in close coordination with Pakistan Air Force, we were always ready. They were cockpit ready to generate a response. We have a mechanism worked out with the Pakistan Naval Aviation assets and Pakistan Air Force assets. So the response was always ready. And this is simply, let me say it politely. I did mention that as a professional military officer, I don't want to underestimate the enemy, but let me tell you candidly that INS Vikrant, with its present capability, it's effective essentially in the IO domain, and which essentially you saw that article in the Telegraph and that hype about. So essentially, its effectiveness is restricted to the IO domain, and had it not been the case, it would have projected the power ashore and it would have created some effect. So they understand the limitation, and we also understand that. Thank you very much.
जना साहब जी, खालिद महमूद जी, एक्सप्रेस टीवी से। जना साहब, इंडियन मीडिया ने जो 3 दिन में तूफ़ान बर्पा किया, उसको तो हम अच्छी तरह जानते हैं, उसका जवाब भी उनको दिया गया। आज जो उनकी स्पोक्स पर्सन है, मिलिट्री स्पोक्स पर्सन, उनकी आज प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई, उसमें उन्होंने बताया कि बहावलपुर में जो उन्होंने टारगेट किया था, उसमें रऊफ़ नामी शख्स को उन्होंने टारगेट किया था और उसको वो बहुत हाई वैल्यू टारगेट अचीवमेंट उसको शो कर रहे हैं। आप बताइएगा कि क्या ऐसा कोई वाक़या वहाँ पे हुआ और इसकी हकीकत क्या है?
I think this question was discussed day before once we had the last press conference, and because this was discussed in this point was made by this, so we have pulled out the same video clip. So I'll just see that first, so that you can see what the fact of the matter is. If you can, if we can run that clip, because the reality is for everyone to clear, is obviously for everyone to see. So you see, yes, this one. If you just stop here. So this is the Indian High Commissioner in UK who is showing on international media picture of a person leading the prayers. You can see that. Now he is saying that this man is brother of an alleged person who is in incarceration, and that this man is the brother of that terrorist, the alleged terrorist that they say. Now run this. If you can run this clip.
This person here is a sanctioned terrorist under the American sanctions regime. His name is Hafiz Abdur Rauf.
So he's saying, stop here. So he's saying he is Hafiz Abdur Rauf, who is a sanctioned terrorist, and this terrorist is leading this prayer. So he is a High Commissioner of the Indian government. Now go ahead.
That you're mentioning. Look who's behind it. Pakistani military. Look at the coffins there. They have the Pakistani national flag.
So what he's saying now, their media is saying that no, this person has died. So at the same time he is dead for them, at the same time he is alive for them, to whom to believe. So what we did was, we tried to reach out this man, because there was a person who was leading the prayers. Now we'll show you that man. Now please stop here, kindly please. Now the misinformation that is being spewed from the Indian side is being also picked up by international media, because they push it out so aggressively and so much that a very a journalist of an international media is saying, believing that the brother of the story, because that story has been told, has been given to her by a very top ranking official, and she is saying that the military officials of Pakistan have said that. Where is that record? At what time ISPR, myself, anybody has said and made any comment about him? Now he is this man. His name is Hafiz Abdur Rauf, who is actually leading the prayers. And listen to him what he is saying.
जी एक जनाजा पढ़ाने की मुझे बड़ी ही शदीद तकलीफ है और रंज भी है कि बगैर किसी तस्दीक के, बगैर किसी तहकीक के मेरे बारे में इतनी बड़ी बड़ी बातें और बैनुल-अक़वामी चीज़ें बयान कर दी हिंदुस्तान ने और उनके मीडिया ने, जो बिल्कुल ही मुज़क्किर है और जिसका हक़ाइक़ से क़तन कोई ताल्लुक़ नहीं है। मेरी ज़िंदगी सबके सामने है। मेरे माँ बाप उस्ताद थे, मैं खुद तालीम दोस्त आदमी हूँ। मैंने पहले कॉलेज में पढ़ा, स्कूल में पढ़ा और बेहतरीन मेरी एजुकेशन रही।
So he's saying, I am surprised that I am being talked by the Indian media. So my parents were teachers. He's got 3 daughters, son, and he is born in March 1973. You can see his details, family details and everything over here. So we are actually surprised that even today, then again, they have come out with the same thing. So it is now getting, it's a little flabbergasted that whatever they are telling, why they are telling, and what to believe, what not to believe.
सदीक साजा जी, एक न्यूज़ से रब नवाज साहब, आपसे सवाल है कि अभी जो थोड़ी देर पहले INS विक्रांत के हवाले से बात हुई, क्योंकि इंडियन सोशल मीडिया जो था और उनका अपना मीडिया बहुत ज़्यादा हाइप क्रिएट कर रहा था, और फिर उसके बाद टेलीग्राफ की एक स्टोरी आई, फिर कराची की बंदरगाह के हवाले से कि उसके ऊपर अटैक होने वाला है। फिर आप देखते हैं कि इंडियन नेवी जो है वो हमसे 3 गुना वो बड़ी है। तो लेकिन आपने ये भी कहा कि हमारी जो फोर्स जो है वो खामोश फोर्स है, तो क्या ये जो खामोशी थी किसी तूफ़ान का पेश खैमा थी जिसकी वजह से वो अटैक नहीं कर सके? क्योंकि इधर तो लड़ाई हो रही थी अब आर्मी की भी और फ़ज़ाइया की भी।
जी बहुत शुक्रिया। वो इंडियन मीडिया ने तो आपने देख लिया था कि वो कराची पे वो और बाकी भी लाहौर की बंदरगाह पे भी कब्जा कर लिया था जो आपने देखा उस पर, तो वो तो लेट्स कीप दैट असाइड। सो अगेन मैंने कहा ना कि ये भी जो टेलीग्राफ की भी जो सारी ये इंफॉर्मेशन ऑपरेशंस हैं, और जो मैंने आपकी कैपेबिलिटी बता दी, एंड इंडियन नेवी ऑल्सो अंडरस्टैंड्स कि उसकी क्या कैपेबिलिटी है, और उसकी फॉर एग्जांपल कराची से करीब लेके आना 400 मील में, मैंने आपसे कहा इवन एट दैट रेंज एंड इफ इट कम्स इवन क्लोजर, सो दैट मेक्स इट एक्सट्रीमली वल्नरेबल। दे अंडरस्टैंड इट परफेक्टली वेल। एक तो जो कोऑर्डिनेटेड थ्रेट है नेवल एयर आर्म एंड पाकिस्तान एयर फोर्स जो जनरेट करती है वो, और इवन जो हमारी सब सरफेस एलिमेंट्स डिप्लॉयड थे, तो वो दे फुली अंडरस्टूड एट ऑल टाइम्स कि क्या थ्रेट्स हैं। लेकिन ज़ाहिर है कि मैंने जैसे कहा कि जो वॉर की प्रोसिक्यूशन होती है, दैट्स नॉट एन आइसोलेटेड सर्विस मैटर, दैट इज़ कोऑर्डिनेटेड एट ऑल 3 सर्विसेज लेवल। तो वो उसमें जो डिसीजन मेकिंग होती है वो उसी हिसाब से होती है। और लाइक ये मैंने कहा ना IO डोमेन में, जैसे आपने टेलीग्राफ का जिक्र किया और फिर वो एक थोड़ी सी तशवीश सी फैली, तो वो मोर ऑफ IO डोमेन में था। वो तो जब उससे बहुत पहले भी जो है अराउंड आई थिंक 23rd 26th ऑफ अप्रैल भी जब वो कारवार से निकला था, तो उसी दिन वो कराची पे पहुंच भी चुका था। तो वो भी उस दिन आपने उनकी मीडिया में देखा होगा। तो वो ये सब उसी IO डोमेन में था, और कैपेबिलिटी दे ऑल अंडरस्टैंड, एंड व्हाइल आई एम नॉट अंडरमाइनिंग, लेकिन आई एम जस्ट बी फैक्चुअली करेक्ट, वी अंडरस्टैंड, वी हैव आवर प्लान रेडी, और मतलब अगर कोई एडवेंचरिज्म की तरफ आता है तो वी विल टेक देम डाउन। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
वी न्यूज़ से हूँ सर। इसमें जो ऑपरेशन अभी लॉन्च किया गया था उसमें काफ़ी इस्लामिक टर्मिनोलॉजीज़ यूज़ की गई, बुनियान मरसूस, जो इंडियन मीडिया से तो प्रोनाउंस भी नहीं हो रहा था। उसके अलावा फल मुगीरात सुबहान, ये सुबह के वक्त अटैक किया गया जो कि एक सुन्नत था। तो ये किसकी, क्या हाफिज़ साहब का आइडिया था? ये किस तरह प्लान हुआ है?
देखिए, पाकिस्तान की जो फ़ौज है, पाकिस्तान की जो फ़ौज है, उसके अंदर जो इस्लाम है, इट इज़ पार्ट not personally of our beliefs of each one of us, it is part of our training, it is part of our faith. Iman, taqwa, jihad fi sabilillah, that's what drives us, that's our motto. And alhamdulillah, we have a chief of army staff who has a strong belief. तो लीडरशिप जो सी है, जो ऊपर होती है, उसका जो बिलीफ होता है, उसकी जो कमिटमेंट होती है, वो ट्रांसलेट होती है इनटू डिफरेंट तरीक़ों से ऑपरेशंस में भी। तो ये जो नाम है, ये क्या बताता है? ये बताता है कि ये मोमिन होते हैं जो अल्लाह की राह में लड़ने वाले होते हैं, वो सीसा पलाई हुई दीवार की तरह होते हैं। दे आर दैट स्टील वॉल। एंड अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, अल्लाह के फजल से पाकिस्तान की अफवाज जो सी हैं, दे एक्टेड लाइक ए स्टील वॉल। जी, बगैर किसी शक के, मैंने इसलिए शुरू में कहा कि सबसे पहले हम अल्लाह सुब्हानहू तआला के आगे सजदा करते हैं, शुक्र करते हैं, फिर हम पाकिस्तान के अवाम का, पाकिस्तान के यूथ का, पाकिस्तान के मीडिया का, पाकिस्तान के सियासतदानों का, तमाम पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ का, इस वक्त जो हमारी पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप है उनकी हौसला मंदी का, ये जो आपने रिस्पांस देखा है, इट इज द ऑल एलिमेंट्स ऑफ नेशनल पावर, हाउ क्विकली दे केम, हाउ क्विकली दे जेल टुगेदर, एंड दे वर ऑल दैट स्टील वॉल।
Sir Faisal Raza Khan, I am from PTB World. My first question is related to Pakistan Air Force. Beside the congratulations, you have got 6-0. Definitely. So my question, you were talking about spectrum supremacy. And this question is related to the cyber warfare and the space warfare that Pakistan Air Force successfully, whether it was the jamming or taken over of the satellite, and what was the nature of that satellite, whether that was the military one, because whole of the command and control system of the adversary, they always utilize those satellites for any action. That's one. And with the silent guy of Pakistan Navy, Vice Admiral Rabnewaz sahab. Sir, in Pulwama, we have seen on 4th of March 2019 when Pakistan Navy successfully detected the Indian nuclear capable submarine. And in Navy terminology, we always say detection means destruction. So beside P-8I Poseidon, whether you have taken over any sort of a signature of the Indian submarines, because in submarine warfare, most of the times naval assets, number one is the submarine that always go off the harbor and get into the enemy territory. So have you have got any sort of a signature in any sort of your asset, from any sort of your asset, any signature of the adversary? Thank you, sir.
Sir, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your question. And you're right that we did make a mention of that detection on 4th of March in 2019 after the Pulwama incident, when we detected one of the submarines south of Pasni at that time. I will, because of the operation security reason, not like to comment on that, but let me tell you this thing, that we had a very effective anti-submarine warfare surveillance during this time. We exactly knew when the submarines left the harbor and where they were likely to be deployed. And we also had a very effective deterrence operations in play, which I think they were successful in keeping these submarines at bay. So beyond that, I will not like to comment on any further. Thank you very much.
Regarding spectrum supremacy, just like I mentioned, it's a critical component, a very vital component, cardinal for the electromagnetic spectrum, and that we have cyber and space. They come hand in hand with EW. With the satellite, the satellite that was jammed was a military satellite used by them. The downlink is scuttled. It leads to decision paralysis if done on a continued level. There is no communication where beyond line of sight platforms are acting, so they kind of get redundant. Whenever any payload is within line of sight, it is working on certain other principles. When it is going beyond, it goes on SATCOM, and the SATCOM is denied, so its effectiveness is reduced to almost nil. And so is cyber, where the services are denied, the nodes, the C2 structure that are working over there in the whole architecture. So it's a kind of a paralysis that takes place, whereby cyber and space, they go hand in hand, and that is how you carry out the spectrum supremacy. I just mentioned it is Pakistan Air Force is really going into it with full momentum. Our Chief of the Air Staff is leading this initiative, whereby we are entering into this domain. And it gives you cross-domain effects. When one side is applied and multiple levels, you get the outcome, the providence, and the dividends. So this is the new warfare. This is the new thing that is there. As soon as the things are getting digital, wireless, we are relying on electromagnetic spectrum more and more, and so this becomes imperative that we have control over the spectrum. I just mentioned control of air is preceded by control of spectrum now. Through spectrum and EW, we were able to see beyond our radars. And we had, as I mentioned, I showed you, we had correct, precise IDs of the projectiles and the platforms that were taking off, and thereby we could react in time and respond in the way as you just saw. JF-17 is a very potent platform. Pakistan is employing them very effectively, as you just saw. JF-17 is the pride of Pakistan, and the Block 3 has added potential, enhanced combat potential and effectiveness with the payloads that it carries. All these targets that were engaged were done by JF-17 Block 2 and 3. It has the ESA radar. So J-10 is a very good thing. As you saw, it's not the fact that the Rafale is a bad plane. Rafale is a equally potent, very potent aircraft. I mean, if employed well, but it's how you're, with all in all fairness and jokes aside, it's all the training. I think it's the, as mentioned, the direction, the leadership that propels you in that direction, gives you confidence, and the support of the nation. That's the foundation the Pakistan Air Forces and the armed forces are standing on. The support of the nation, and the way you look at us right now and always do. This is what drives us. This is what drives us. Thank you.
He's asking that the questions should not be quick, the answer should also be quick. Huh?
I'm sorry.
सर आज इंडियंस की तरफ से प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस की गई थी, उसमें इतराफ़ किया गया जब उनसे पूछा कि राफेल गिरा है तो उन्होंने कहा कि जंग में नुकसानात होते रहते हैं, तो दुश्मन की तरफ से इतराफ़ करना कितना उसका इम्पैक्ट है। दूसरा सवाल ये है कि सर एक दिन पहले जब नायब सदर से सवाल किया गया कि इंडियन पाकिस्तान कशीदगी चल रही है तो उन्होंने कहा इट्स नन ऑफ आवर बिजनेस, लेकिन वो क्या हुआ कि एकदम से उनका बिजनेस भी हो गया और उन्होंने मोदी की कॉल भी की, कहा जा रहा है क्योंकि सेंसिटिव इन्फॉर्मेशन उनके साथ लग गई थी। तो क्या नेशनल कमांड अथॉरिटी की जो मीटिंग थी उसके बाद हालात बदल गए, जज्बात बदल गए?
आप राफेल का कर लो
जी। देखिए, हम एक बड़ी प्रोफेशनल एयरफोर्स हैं। इंडियन एयरफोर्स भी बहुत प्रोफेशनल एयरफोर्स है, एक आर्म है, एंड वी हैव अ काइंड ऑफ अनसेड अनरिटन वाव इन बिटवीन दैट हम एक दूसरे की प्रोफेशनल्स पे कोई वो नहीं करते। माई जॉब इज़ टू डिफेंड माई कंट्री, हिज जॉब इज़ टू defend his and perform his duties. They can appreciate it. I appreciate it that they have accepted it, because it's evident. You can see it in the air, on the ground. Everybody is looking at this, set at pictures for that. So he had no other choice, I guess. And I told you there are 3 Rafales that are missing.
So
one MiG-29, one Su-30.
जो आपने बात की, देखें मैं आपको पहले ये अर्ज किया है, and I will repeat it. Military conflict or war between 2 rival nuclear states is absurd, inconceivable, and sheer stupidity. So, once the India thinks that it wants to carve out space for war between India and Pakistan, it is not carving out space for war. It is a recipe for mutual annihilation. Therefore, there is no space for war, and the world knows it. And you saw it. In this conflict, Pakistan exercised escalation control. We acted very maturely. We used our conventional forces, we gave up notch-up response, and we didn't even pull any force from our western front. We kept on continuing to conducting the counter-terrorism operations without any pause. And while doing that, We were the one who were maintaining escalation control. And you saw that manifestation, that on the morning of 10th, who is asking that we don't want to de-escalate? We don't want to escalate. And if Pakistan is willing to de-escalate, then we will also de-escalate. Who is asking that? Publicly. So the escalation control was with Pakistan. We were acting very maturely, and we understand that this notion of carving out space, it is madness. And that's why you said, that's why what you referred to, the world community, the international players, they very well understand that.
Sir, I'm from Chinese media. My name is Yusuf Khan. So my question is that, sir, there is a news on foreign media and also on social media. Sir, my name is Yusuf Khan. I am from Chinese media, CCTV. Sir, there was a news on foreign media and also on social media that Pakistani Air Force entered the Indian airspace. I just want to know this, sir.
Okay, let me answer you before the AVMs gives you the specific. Please, if we have to stay away from what's all coming on media and social media. If we go as per the conduct of this military conflict by the media and social media, then there were 15 attacks that Pakistan made. Karachi is already burned. Quetta is gone. And God knows what all has happened. There's a female pilot also in our captivity. I don't know. So let's try to stick to the facts, and let's not try to stay what the media or social media is saying.
Salman from Bold News. My question is for AVM. Chota sa quick question hai. What was the difference between PF and IF engagement? Is what only JTNC or something else?
I think I did mention JTNC is an important platform. So is JF-17, F-16, and Rafale also. It's how you employ them. It's a training. I think it is a training. It is the mindset. It is the mindset of our pilots. The aggressive mindset that we take. Pakistan Air Force, alhamdulillah, is giving training to foreign countries. They are coming and asking in numbers. They want to come and have training with us. We have been invited on international exercises. The kind of level of training we have is remarkable. So I can say with great conviction that the difference was in the mindset, in the leadership, in the whole architecture. Platforms do come in play. They are there. I mean, you cannot just rule out them that they don't mean nothing, but they are one part. But the main driving force is the culture of the organization, the leadership, the mindset it has. Iqbal said, "Kafir hai to karta hai shamsheer pe bharosa, momin hai to betegh bhi ladta hai sipahi."
जल साहब, वैसे तो पहलगाम के फ़ौरन बाद जो डिसइंफॉर्मेशन ऑपरेशन लॉन्च किया गया था इंडिया की तरफ से इस कॉन्फ्लिक्ट के ऊपर, वो उससे सारी दुनिया आगाह हो चुकी है। मगर एक इंतहाई गैर जिम्मेदाराना ख़बर जो वहाँ पे फैलाई गई और फैलाई जा रही है, वो यह है कि हमारी न्यूक्लियर फैसिलिटी को करियाना के करीब जो है उन्होंने हिट किया है। आल्दो हमें तो मालूम है कि ये फॉल्स है, मगर इंटरनेशनल कंजम्पशन के लिए मैं चाहूँगा कि आप अपना इसके ऊपर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू दे दें।
जी, फॉल्स है।
डी साहब, थैंक यू। गज़नफर साहब, आपका तो बहुत शुक्रिया कि मुझे सवाल करने का मौका मिला, और मैं ये भी रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि बार बार जिस प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में भी हो मुझे सवाल करने का मौका मिले। और अला नूर वज़ीर हूँ, मशरिक पेशावर ग्रुप से। मेरा सवाल ये है कि भारत और पाकिस्तान दोनों एक दूसरे पर दहशतगर्दी के इल्ज़ामात लगा रहे हैं, तहफ़्फ़ुज़ात। तो ये इल्ज़ामात या तहफ़्फ़ुज़ात कैसे दूर किए जा सकते हैं? मिल बैठ कर किरदार अदा करना चाहिए दोनों ममालिक को। और दूसरा सवाल मेरा ये है कि अगेन अगर मतलब इस तरह ड्रोन आते हैं तो गिराने के लिए क्या अमल है? और साथ साथ जो मतलब भारत की जानिब से आपने बात की लोगों की कि हमने लोगों को टारगेट नहीं किया, तो आपका लोगों के लिए मैसेज क्या है और फिर भारतीय आर्मी के लिए आपका पैगाम क्या है?
देखें, वो जो ड्रोन है वो 84 से आपका दिल नहीं भरा जो हमने गिरा दी है। जितने आए थे गिरा दिए, ठीक है, आएंगे और गिरा देंगे. तो आप प्लीज बी देयर इज नो इशू, remain totally comfortable. Whatever they will send, whatever they can send, with the support of the people of this country, these your armed forces have the capability to take them on. Absolutely no issue. जो आपने पहली बात क्या की थी? You see, we have to first this issue of the scourge of terrorism. Who is facing it? It's Pakistan. Who is sponsoring it? Who is abetting it? It's India. So that's the reality. Do you think that they are conducting, they are prosecuting terrorism in Pakistan through multiple proxies? How to deal with it? The deal to how to deal with it is to gel the nation to stand together, as we have stood like a steel wall against this threat from India. This steel wall will smash this terrorism also, whatever they may do, whatever proxies they may put. And the state of Pakistan, with the support of its people, is doing it. It requires the whole of the nation approach. I will not go into the details. I have multiple times said that we have these 14 points of the National Action Plan. We have to implement that wholly. So this terrorism is not going to go away by talking with India. We don't look outside. We don't beg anyone that don't do this. Our strategy is not hope. We are a proud nation and we will finish off this terrorism. There should be no doubt in it.
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर. असगर अली मुबारक डेली मेल से हूँ सर. जिस तरह का एक पाकिस्तान ने माशाल्लाह मशरक़ी साइड पे जो फतह या ये हासिल की है और कौम की मैंने देखा है कि खुशियों से उनकी आंखों में आंसू भी, लेकिन दिल उनका जो है आपकी आर्म फोर्सेस की वजह से बहुत जो है वो दुआएं दे रहा है. तो क्या हम मगरबी साइड पे भी इसी तरीके से इस जो मोमेंटम है उसके ज़रिए दहशत गर्दी के ऊपर काबू पा लेंगे, जिस तरह बलूचिस्तान के अंदर, जिस तरह केपी के अंदर हम देख रहे हैं कि मुख्तलिफ एरिया के अंदर, तो हम ये समझ सकते हैं कि ये जो मशरक़ी साइड के ऊपर जो इतनी बड़ी फतह याबी हासिल की है उससे पाकिस्तान काफ़ी अरसे से हालत जंग में है, तो उसको भी हम इसी तरह जो है फतह याब से हमकरार करेंगे.
मैं यही अर्ज करूँगा, इस दहशतगर्दी को पहले तो अव्वल यकीन रखें कि हम इस पे काबू पाएंगे, काबू पा लेंगे अल्लाह ताला की मदद से और नुसरत से. उसकी कुछ वजूहात हैं. उसकी वजूहात ये है कि हम सच पे, हम हक पे हैं. उनकी ये जो आइडियोलॉजी है, परवर्टेड आइडियोलॉजी है, ये इस्लाम नहीं है. इसका इस्लाम से, दीन इस्लाम से, इसका इंसानियत से, इसका पाकिस्तानियत से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं है. इसका हमारे रस्म व रिवाज से कोई ताल्लुक नहीं है. मजलूम को मारना, खुद कुछ धमाके करना, मस्जिदें उड़ाना, किडनैपिंग करना फॉर रैंसम, भत्ताखोरी, स्मगलिंग, इसका क्या ताल्लुक है इस्लाम से? इसका क्या ताल्लुक है इंसानियत के साथ? तो वी आर ऑन द राइट, द नेशन इज ऑन द राइट. यू हैव ए बैटल हार्डन आर्मी. what we just need is that we stand together the way we have stood together. And this nation, for its survival, for its prosperity, is standing together. आपको नजर आ रही है ये कौम मुत्तहिद, इकट्ठी, एक अज़म, एक चमक हमें नजर आ रहा है, आपको नजर आ रहा है. एतमाद बावजूद तमाम कोशिशों के दरार डाली जाए इस मुल्क के इदारों में, इस मुल्क की अफवाज में और अवाम में, किस तरह मुत्तहिद हुई है कौम? क्योंकि हमें पता है कि रियासत माँ होती है. इस माँ, इस रियासत की छत तले हम सब ने पलना बढ़ना है. कोई थोड़ा कम पढ़ लेगा, कोई थोड़ा ज्यादा पढ़ लेता है, कोई अमीर हो जाता है, कोई गरीब होता है, जिस तरह खानदान में भी फर्क होते हैं. बट डजंट मेक अस दैट वी स्टार्ट फाइटिंग विद ईच अदर. तो आवर यूनिटी, आवर रिजॉल्व हैज बीन स्ट्रेंथन and will continue to be strengthened, and we will take on this terrorism اور ہمیں یہ بھی متہ ہونا چاہیے کہ یہ بھی اسی دشمن جس نے ابھی کنونشنلی ہم پہ اٹیک کیا یہ بھی اسی کی لگائی ہوئی آگ ہے, یہ بھی اسی کی مکاری ہے. تو کیا ہم اس کو اگر وہاں مات دے سکتے ہیں تو اس کی اس مکاری کو مات نہیں دے سکتے؟ بالکل دے سکتے ہیں, اور دے کے دیں گے انشاءاللہ تعالی.
بشارت فاضل عباسی, ڈیلی جاب پاکستان سے. میرا اورنگزیب صاحب سے سوال ہے کہ ہمارے منسٹر نے بھی کہا تھا کہ جو ہمارے طیارے تھے وہ انڈیا کے طیارے جو کافی تھے ان کو ہم گرا سکتے تھے, تو کیا یہ بات صحیح ہے؟ ہمیں کیوں نہیں گرائے؟ اگر ہم گرا سکتے تھے تو ہم نے کیوں نہیں گرائے؟ جی سر.
دیکھیے, آئی ڈڈ مینشن ایسکلیشن مینجمنٹ اینڈ ہاؤ you envisage and you plan the whole conflict. It is not reactive, it's proactive hota. So it is not also trigger happy also. So the principles give you direction and accordingly aap usko enact karte in the whole architecture. It's not firing at will. There is a prudent thought and a strategy behind it. Yes, we could have fired more. Yes, we could have had PAI along with Navy. But there is a greater design behind it. اور ہم ایک بڑی constraints کا مظاہرہ کرتے ہیں because there is اس میں ایک sanity prevail کرنی چاہیے. At least one side should practice it.
دیکھیں, میں اس میں دوبارہ یہ ایڈ کرنا چاہوں گا, میں نے 2 بار یہ پہلے کہا ہے, یہ دونوں نیوکلیئر طاقتیں ہیں, دونوں ممالک. ان کے درمیان جو جنگ ہے وہ ایک حماقت ہوگی. 3 ورڈ میں نے استعمال کیے, ایبسرڈ, انکنسیویبل, شیئر اسٹوپڈیٹی. اب اگر اس میں سے ایک پارٹی جون سی ہے وہ اپنے کسی وجوہات کی وجہ سے, کسی گھمنڈ کی وجہ سے, کوئی اپنی پولیٹیکل اس کی اپنی کوئی خواہشات ہیں جن کو اچیو کرنا چاہتا ہے, وی ڈونٹ وانٹ ٹو گیٹ ان ٹو دیئر. اف ہی از ٹرائنگ ٹو کارو آؤٹ اے اسپیس تو وہ آگ سے کھیل رہا ہے. اس میں میچور پارٹنر کون ہے؟ میچور پلیئر ہم ہیں. اور آپ نے اس پورے پروسیس میں دیکھا جو اس طرح اے وی ایم اورنگزیب نے کہا کہ ایسکیلیشن کو کنٹرول ہم کر رہے تھے. اینڈ دی ورلڈ نوز اٹ دیٹ ہاؤ ریسپانسبلی, ہاؤ مچ ود ریسٹرین. اگر آپ نے میری بات چیت سنی, ہم نے کہا وی ایکٹیڈ ان اے ویری ڈیلیبریٹ, پریسائز بٹ ریسٹرینٹ مینر. اپنی جو ہماری کلچر ہے, جو ہماری ٹریننگ ہے, جو ہمارے ایتھوز ہیں, اس کے مطابق سولینز کو ٹارگٹ نہیں کرنا, مساجد کو ٹارگٹ نہیں کرنا, پلیسز آف ورشپ کو ٹارگٹ نہیں کرنا. صرف اس کو ٹارگٹ کرنا ہے جو ہم پہ حملہ آور ہوا ہے. تو دیر از لاٹ دیٹ از ایٹ پلے. یو آر ناٹ اے ٹریگر ہیپی آرمی, وی آر اے پیس لوننگ نیشن. وی وانٹ پیس ود ان اینڈ ود آؤٹ. ہم صرف اگریشن کو جواب دیتے ہیں اور پھر ٹکا کے دیتے ہیں تاکہ کسی کی دوبارہ مجال نہ ہو ہماری طرف آنکھ اٹھانے کی. ہوگی تو پھر ہم آنکھ نکالیں گے. تھینک یو, بہت شکریہ بھائی.